How's everybody doing? Come on in, get your coffee. Time for coffee. Mm-mm. 230 people. Big news? What's the big news? Is the big news about the Reddit thread and the bleach pig guy? Or is it big news about the terror suspect named? Proof found on Reddit. I'm not completely understanding the Reddit stuff. I can kind of oh, you don't have good audio? How's the audio now? Really? No sound? No sound. Okay, let me try again. Alright, how's the sound? Can you hear me now? I had to try again because the sound wasn't working. Oh, you got sound now? Okay. Was there no sound, or were you just having trouble hearing it above the sound of the coffee maker? Oh, some people had sound. Yeah, okay. Alright. I don't know what that's all about. So, good morning, everybody. Had sound. That's funny. Might have been just a connection thing. Yeah, so what's the deal with Reddit? So I only quickly looked at the Reddit story just before I signed on here. And I don't know exactly the details of what's going on, but apparently the technical person in charge of emails, or the server for Hillary Clinton, was asking somebody about how to change an email address for an existing email, one that had already been written, and was being told he couldn't do it. But I didn't quite get all the details in terms of forwarded to Laura Southern. I couldn't get the details in terms of why this mattered. It would make the IT guy look bad because he was trying to do something, but I don't see exactly how that affects Clinton yet. So I don't understand the story enough to know why this isn't just about the tech guy. So he deleted them because he couldn't change. Does it show some kind of intent from Clinton? Because I think it just shows this guy trying to do his job. He was trying to replace her name, but isn't that all on him? Isn't the smoking gun just all on the IT guy? It's not on Clinton? I don't see how this is going to affect her yet. She ordered him to do it? I don't think that's been demonstrated, right? Didn't he take the fifth? He claimed they told him to do it. So I would say that this one is sort of a wait and see. The trouble is it just adds to the idea that everything she does is crooked. I don't think people even understand stuff like this. I mean, you're listening to me, and I don't really understand how it's relevant. I mean, I know it's relevant because it's about an important topic, but I don't see the smoking gun. Do you? I mean, I don't see the connection to Clinton. I just see a guy who had a problem he was trying to solve. Name Elizabeth. All right, so let's talk about the bombings. Are you watching the news today? You know that a suspect has been identified, an Afghan-born fellow who's a naturalized citizen. So in other words, he was an immigrant. That doesn't mean he's guilty. That just means that's who they're looking for right now. He's an Afghan-born Norwegian? What's that mean? Clinton's on TV. Who authorized the bleach bit bill? That's a good question. Norwegian. So you're just saying Norwegian because you're being funny, right? He's not actually connected to Norway anyway. He copied the Boston attacks. Yeah. You know, it's funny, given how dangerous Trump's supporters allegedly are. You don't see them shooting anybody. Hillary's on now. What's she doing? How's she look? How's her energy? Is anybody watching Hillary on TV? They can tell me how her energy looks. Armenian? No. Chris Hayes self-identifies as Pepe. I don't even know what that means. Alright. Media spin. Yeah, you'd all rather watch Christina, I know. Alright, I'm trying not to talk about the terrorist stuff too much. It's still a little too fresh. It doesn't seem right to talk about that in terms of how that's going to affect the election, because you should take her golfing. You're pepesexual, which means you're aroused by frogs. Obama's speech, you know what? I don't know if it was good or bad. I think he's a little bit irrelevant now. So it doesn't matter what he said. Fallon. Fallon's job just depends on his ratings. Any new polls today? Christina's not here this morning. Why would you think my neighbor is in my house at first thing in the morning? That would be weird. Do y'all have your coffee? Apparently I don't have much to say today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you my blog. I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm going to read to you the predictions I made back in August 10th, so you can play around, play along. Christina's my neighbor. I have the best looking neighbor of anybody. No, you don't want me to read the blog. So today was just the blog about 8 predictions I made. I'm not sure I would call them predictions. 8 things that could happen. 8 surprises that could have happened back in August 10th when Clinton was way ahead in the polls. And I said that all the surprises are on the same side. In other words, the things that are likely to be surprises are probably things that would favor Trump. So, apparently nobody cares about this. They usually only care about my neighbor. So here are the 8 things I said could have changed the elections. Could have changed the election back in August 10th. See how I did, okay? So number 1, I said the voters, these are things that could happen. Back in August 10th, I said, voters might discover that Clinton has been hiding a major health issue. Well, she was hiding her pneumonia, apparently, at least. Number 2, I said WikiLeaks releases something damaging. We've seen a few things that damage her a little, but WikiLeaks has not been a kill shot. Trump overperforms in the first debate. Well, we don't know that yet. That could happen. I think that is going to happen, actually. Trump makes the case that the Clinton Foundation is really about selling influence to foreign concerns. I think the news made that case. He helped, but people are believing that. How about Trump gives a speech or interview that is so effective in its empathy that he no longer appears to be crazy and racist. Now, he did appear at the African American church. He has been saying the right things. So I give myself partial credit for that. Number 6, a new surprise revelation about Clinton that no one sees coming. That was just more of a catch-all, so we can ignore that one. 7, terror attacks push everything else out of the headlines in the final months. And here we are. We had terror attacks, plural, probably, that is pushing everything else out of the headlines in the final months. And then number 8 was more of a sarcasm, just somebody assassinates Clinton because of Trump's Second Amendment joke, which I don't think is going to happen. So that was just more a reference to the headlines. She's taking questions. Clinton says lone wolf. Gosh. Trump said he's been studying trade deals to prep. Is Christina scoping? Not this morning, probably. What if you were one of you? Can you tune in? All right, I'm going to tune in to Hillary's thing here. Hold on. Since you asked me, I'm going to tune in. We're going to watch Hillary's answering questions. Let me turn it up. Can you hear it in the background?
Their position. Secondly, we know that Donald Trump's comments have been used online for recruitment of terrorists. We heard that from former CIA Director Michael.
I think every time Clinton says the real problem is Donald Trump,
Donald Trump is being used as a recruiting sergeant for the terrorists.
oh my God.
We also know from the former head of our counterterrorism
This is
center,
terrible.
Matt Olson, that the kinds of rhetoric and language
Let's see how she looks.
use is giving aid and comfort to our adversaries. Now look,
Do I have a DVR to pause? Yeah, I can pause.
I'm the only candidate in this race.
Yeah, she just keeps talking about Trump instead of the enemy.
Off the battlefield. What does that mean? I was part of the national security team.
You should see her, the outfit she's wearing. It's doing a moire thing, a pattern. There's some patterns that don't look good on television, so they vibrate. So she looks like she's got a green screen again, but it's only because of the shirt she's wearing, the top she's wearing.
I won't get into classified information, but I have sat at that table.
God, it looks like a green screen. I don't think it is, but it sure looks like one.
I contributed to actions that have neutralized our enemies. I know how to do this, and I understand how.
Look, they're showing it. They're showing the terrorist.
It already is. So
They're showing the terrorist picture right next to her.
deploy a strategy that will protect America,
Fox News.
work with our allies.
How funny is this?
To take ISIS
Fox does a split screen of the terrorist and Hillary Clinton.
terrorism effort online.
This is as biased as you can get, but
Defeat the ideology that stands behind.
let's see what CNN is doing. I'm gonna jump over to CNN. I assume it's the same news. Oh look, no split screen.
Your record on this issue over the weekend. Here's one example. Under the leadership of Obama and Clinton, Americans have
Peppy green.
experienced more attacks at home and victory change the place. What's your reaction to that
All right,
characterization?
turn on the TV if you want to follow along.
It's not grounded in fact. It's meant to make some kind of demagogic point. And the facts are pretty clear.
She just said demagogic. Could anybody have less understanding of the American brain? Because you know what we don't care about? Anything that's demagogic. We don't give a fuck. Tell us who's going to win. Tell us we're winners. Don't tell us about reckless rhetoric and demagogic stuff.
The strategies for local and state law enforcement, for an intelligence surge, for the kind of preventive actions that we need to take here at home, and to intensify our efforts efforts to defeat ISIS.
She looks tired.
Saying he has a secret plan. The secret is he has no plan. So let's focus on what we really can do, and what I've laid out is a path forward that will keep us safer, protect our country, and go after the terrorists.
She's going to be a sore loser.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Demagogic.
All right, Hillary Clinton wrapping up.
Could anybody have less feel for the American public than to do a press conference where she says demagogic?
And also still with me is Karen Greenberg, a terrorism analyst, and Joe Giacalone, our law enforcement expert.
It looks like she's done.
I actually just don't want to talk about politics for just a second, and I want to talk about real solutions, because you heard what Hillary Clinton said, Karen. She said she wanted an
real solutions.
surge to stop these kinds of attacks. She wanted the increased involvement of Silicon Valley to stop this stuff online, so it doesn't radicalize.
I want to hear what this analyst says.
Here on American soil. Donald Trump was on Fox and Friends earlier this morning. He talked about.
Did she cough while walking away? Probably not.
I want you to listen to what Donald Trump said, and then we can compare and contrast.
All right, I gotta turn this off. All right, done. Has Godzilla stopped helping her? I'm thinking maybe yes. He's got a book tour he should be busy at. Intelligence surge, yeah. Don't you think everybody wants that? She has a hotel curtain for a dress. I thought it looked like a carpet from a sort of a 70s hotel carpet or something. It looked more carpet than shade, than drapery. All right. She was literally blaming Trump for the attack. Is it just me, or I don't know if this is a sexist thing, so you tell me, but it feels like she's just complaining about her husband all day long. It's like, complain, every problem in the world is Trump. Now, Trump's doing, he's saying a lot of bad things about her, but it doesn't feel like that's the only thing he's saying. When he does it, it feels like it's in context. When she does it, it's like she's had a bad breakup. Let me ask you this. If you've ever known a woman who had been in a divorce recently, just got out of a divorce, doesn't she sound like she's talking about her ex? I mean, it's sort of like an obsession. When people get divorced, you say to a divorced person, if they've been divorced in the last 2 years, you say, hey, how's the weather? And the person will say, weather, just like my ex used to take me into the rain all the time. He would never look at the weather forecast. He'd just always go into the bad weather. My ex, And don't you get that vibe? And I can't tell, honestly, I can't tell if it's just a sexist filter I'm putting on this. Is it just me? I can't tell. And by the way, I don't know, maybe it's just guys would feel this way. Because when I hear Trump talk, it feels like, sometimes he's talking about Clinton, but it feels like it's political. When she talks, it just sounds like she's talking about her ex-husband, who she's still mad at and can't think about anything else. But I know that's just some kind of sexist impression I'm getting. At least I'm copying to it, right? I'm telling you the way it registers in my brain. I'm not putting any kind of logic or reason on it at all. But the way it registers is somebody talking about their ex, and it's ugly. Ugly in the sense that you just don't want to hear about it. You just get tired of hearing about it. It doesn't even matter if it's true or not true. It doesn't matter. You're just fucking tired of hearing about it. Now, I'm not using the word nagging, because nagging implies that you're still married, and nagging is, a little more unambiguously sexist. Yeah, I think if you use the word nagging, you can't claim that you're not being sexist. But I'm saying that the vibe that I get from her now is the vibe of someone who's complaining about an ex-husband, and it doesn't matter what the topic is. They just bring it back to their ex-husband and, you know, how he ruined everything, and every single problem in her life is because of her ex-husband. It has nothing to do with anything she's done. And yeah, it looks like complaining. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not feeling nagging. Nagging feels, I mean, that word would mean something different to me. I'm not feeling scorned. I'm feeling ex-wife complaining about her husband being the source of every problem in the world, from terrorism to children bullying in school. Yeah, at a deep, irrational level, it sounds that way. Nagging is more benign. Whining. Nah, I don't feel it as like whining or nagging, bitching. Yeah, it doesn't feel like any of those things to me. It literally feels like somebody talking about their ex, who is the source of every problem in their world. How in the world are 1,000 people watching me drink coffee? She blames him out of context. Study the primacy. Geez, it's hard to keep up with this. All right, does anybody have any questions? Anything you want to know? How come the camera turned around? What happened here? That's weird. The camera did that on its own. It just reversed. Yeah, I'm watching all of you. I'm sure Christina's at her home. That's where neighbors are. How many of you just want to not see me and put my neighbor on here instead? Are you all getting tired of hearing questions about Christina? Should I just stop talking and just call her and say, whatever you're doing, drop it and come over here and get on my Periscope? Did Taleb say something in the New York Times? I didn't see it. KB. Oh, that could be a good nickname for my neighbor. KB. I kind of like that. Hey, KB. Oh, I might use that one. I've been trying to think of a good nickname for her. Because Christina has too many syllables. You don't really want, people in your life who have 3-syllable names and you have to use all 3 syllables. It's like, Christine, that's a lot of work. But KB, hey, KB. I need to hire her to walk behind me. The last name is Basham, Basham. If you go to my blog today and look at the note about my book, you'll see a link over to her Instagram. What's her username? Just go to my blog today and go to the note about my book, the last sentence, and you'll see a link over to her Instagram. She's my neighbor. Once you see a picture of her on Instagram, you'll say to yourself, oh, she could not possibly be his girlfriend because she's far too young and attractive for that. So if you get 1024, you'll have a, never mind, what? Yeah, I'll probably get a iPhone 7. I do think the election is over. Yeah, unless Trump does something insane. And if you notice that the news has been trying to figure out how to make Trump do something insane, or how to interpret what he's saying. And this latest one was interesting. Oh, let me talk about this for a moment. I think there's something going on here that's either intentional or it's just the way people are going to interpret it through the normal sequence of events. Here's what I think. It seems to me that Trump is setting things up so that he's always talking about real stuff, terrorism, build the wall, whatever, but real stuff, whether you agree with him or not. He's generally talking about real things, jobs, blah, blah. But because of the way he talks about them, for example, when he talks about the Second Amendment, which again is a real issue, he uses words that causes his opponent to become a word thinker. All right? And you know what I mean when I say a word thinker. A word thinker is just someone who's focused on the words that were used and not anything about the substance. And so Trump once again does this, hey, maybe your Secret Service should, get rid of their guns, see what happens. Now, any rational person knows that he's just making a point about gun control and pointing out some hypocrisy or just normal stuff. But because people are primed to look for a problem, they're looking for it there too. So they say, wait a minute, is this sort of like his shooting somebody on Fifth Avenue? I mean, it's not. But because he once said that, you say, oh, he says things about guns and shooting people. And he made one other comment about the Second Amendment people would take care of something, the election or take care of Clinton or something. So he's got enough confirmation bias floating around that when he says something that clearly isn't that provocative, really, just that the Secret Service should put their guns away, because it's not like they're going to. It's not like it's some kind of serious suggestion or something. It's not like they're going to lay down their guns because Trump said so. So it's a ridiculous thing to say. It's clearly just making a point, make you think about it. But what would Clinton do? Well, if she takes the bait, she's going to talk about the way he said it. And if she keeps doing that, there's evidence that at least in her social media she's doing that, she turns Trump into the person who's talking about issues. Whether or not you agree with how he plans to deal with those issues, she turns him into the one who's dealing about issues. And she turns herself into the one who cares about the way stuff is said. In other words, bullshit. Just complete fucking bullshit. So every time Trump says something with a little bit of a provocative flair to it, he sends her to talk about the flair and not the actual issue. So the more that happens, the less people think she has anything to offer. Because remember, she's got pages and pages of policy details on her website, also known as the place no one's ever going to look. All right? No one ever cares. No one cares about issues anyway. But certainly nobody's going to go to her website and check out those issues. Certainly not if they're likely to be a Trump supporter. They're not going to the Clinton website to read all of her issues. I mean, not too many people are doing that. Christina, look who's on. Now, Christina, you don't know it, but everybody on here has just been begging for you. They've been saying, where's Christina? Where's Christina? So, good. So Christina's saying hi to all of you. Should I just, just stop talking now because apparently you all want to talk to her and not me? So Christina, while you were not watching, we decided on your new nickname. So somebody on here already nicknamed you KB. And so that will be your new nickname. Hey, KB. Thanks for joining us, KB. You gotta admit, it's pretty good. Do you like it? Okay, LOL. That doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement for that nickname. Come on. The people like it. Look, everybody's calling you KB. You just got a new nickname. I don't like it? All right. So it's not KB, folks. It didn't pass the nickname test. But the real question is, do you get to pick your own nickname? Or is a nickname something that people assign to you and you have no... If you don't start dating, Scott, well, haven't you noticed that Christina is way too young for me and way too attractive? She's out of my league, folks. But I have the best looking neighbor anybody ever had. She's so nice, so smart, went to Berkeley. Um, they're telling you you don't get to pick your nickname. Apparently just people give that to you. Deliciosa. Robert Monroe. What? I thought you were a real thing. Mm-mm-mm. They think I'm attractive for my age. Okay. Yeah, Christina, I think the next book you should read would be called The Black Swan. Actually, you should. You'd love it. Yeah, Jesus said to love your neighbor. I think this is a perfect example where that applies. I've never been terribly religious, but I think Jesus has a good point in this particular case. Endicott, New York. Hey, Lady K? No, that's a bad nickname. Talib will steal Christina's affections if she reads his book. Maybe. Not everyone here cares about Christina. What? All right, so I don't have a whole lot to talk about this morning because I didn't feel like talking about the terrorist stuff too much because I think that needs a day or so for the victims to, deal with what they need to deal with. But I will say that, does anybody think that the election is still in doubt? Is there anybody who thinks that Trump won't win this at this point? Maybe no. Me, no. It's over. Is the no means it's over, right? Yeah. Nope. Yes. So some people think it's still a race, and some people think it's over. I'm here to tell you that unless something changes, and of course something can change, right? Things change. But I don't think there are too many surprises left that could hurt Trump. He's sort of been an open book. There's not going to be a WikiLeaks about him or anything like that. But there could be still more bad stuff about Clinton. And in fact, it doesn't really matter if there's more bad stuff because the stuff that's already out there would guarantee a Trump victory at this point. So what's the next poll that's coming out? Will she debate? Yeah, she'll debate. One way or another, she will debate. I got to tell you, her latest clothing choices, they seem kind of not really her usual stylish self. Her clothing does look like it's made from discarded carpet samples from a 70s hotel. You bring generous. National poll has Clinton up 2. Which poll was that? And what was she up in? What was she in that poll before? I'm just gonna Google polls. Stay with me. Oh, she is down. Well, let's look. Poll. Looking at today's polls. Trump's white voters says white voters keep Trump's hopes alive and must win Florida. So that's the latest one, right? New high in LA tracking poll. Let's see, the LA tracking poll, 47.8 to 41. So he's got a new high in the LA tracking poll. The Times. Hillary needs a Scot if she wants to win. Why is every... It's Basham, Basham. Did she lose consciousness? What do you mean? Robert Morris University has her up 9. I don't see that on my my new polls. I checked my Gmail yesterday. Should I check it again? I checked it yesterday. What's your favorite news source? I have to sample a lot of different news sources to feel happy. WhenHub is up and running. The app is. The cloud version, we're still doing a little testing. Holy cow. Yeah, the LA Times USC tracking poll is Trump up 7. Holy cow. Oh, she said she didn't lose consciousness, but her feet were upside down. Yeah. You know what never happens to me? When my feet are upside down and they're dragging them across concrete as my shoe falls off. You know what? I never fail to notice that. You'd have to be pretty mentally occupied to not know somebody was dragging your naked foot upside down on concrete into a car and there was no shoe on it. Christian Science Monitor. Huge shit. Yeah, and none of this even counts the shy Trump broke out of the uncertainty zone. Yeah. Oh yeah, her shoe fell off. They showed a picture of her shoe on the curb later. Pre-dementia? Are you talking about me or her? Better visa, blah, blah, blah. Any shy Clinton supporters? I doubt it. LA Times is not a poll, it's a focus group. Is that true? Does that mean it's the same group they talk to every time? Dilbert back on Netflix? I don't know. None of that is up to me. I don't own the rights to that at this point. She's losing Hispanics. Yeah, if Clinton loses Hispanics, I guess there wouldn't be much left. Oh, they rotate from a common pool. Well, you know, so far the LA Times poll had been sort of consistent with other polls, right? So, methodology-wise, say New York bomb was not terrorism. Well, are you talking about, but now they're looking for an Afghan-born fellow, right? Did de Blasio say it was not terrorism after they knew that the suspect was an Afghan born fellow? Obama's going to take this personally? Yeah. Has a small Trump bias. Maybe so. Gary Johnson. I haven't seen the Johnson ad, no. Yeah, I saw the video of nobody volunteering for the door knocking stuff for Clinton. Oh yeah, so Obama said that he would be personally insulted if African Americans did not vote to continue his legacy with Clinton. That's an interesting way to put it. It may be effective. It could be effective persuasion. But it's funny because it just completely departs from any sense that it's anything but a racial preference. So I'd have to say that it struck me as racist, but probably effective. Vote shaming. It isn't what? Isn't racist? It sounds racist. Bitter and cranky. Well, you got to think he's pretty worried, because it is what he said is true in the sense that if Clinton is rejected, it is going to feel like a rejection of Obama, and some number of the things he's done could be reversed. So it would be sort of like he wasn't there. Yeah, he'll still get 95% of the vote. Yeah, maybe. I mean, Clinton will still get the majority of the African American vote. About time. How does it make you feel to have Hillary's secret police here watching your scopes? I have to say it's a weird. It's sort of a weird feeling to think about who's watching my periscopes. If you joined me from the beginning, you know that I talked about my predictions for how Trump would pull ahead back from August. And when I do this stuff, I don't know how, at some point, I'm just a little bit hard to ignore. So I have to think that both the Trump side and the Clinton side have somebody monitoring me. Because if they don't, it would be sort of a fiduciary responsibility failing, I think. Is my life in danger? It could be. I think I'm way past caring about that stuff now. Are you being followed? So here's the question. Does anybody think that my digital communications are not being monitored by the government at this point? Don't you think that's just guaranteed? And if you were Homeland Security or whatever, don't you think they've already checked all of my email, they're probably in my phone? It just feels like probably true. Now, my thing is, I don't try too hard to keep any secrets online, but I don't think there's anything that I've said online that I would really care if it got out. Do I have an assigned case manager? Maybe. Too well known. You're pretty open. I mean, everybody has private things, but I imagine, I ask myself, what would happen if every private thing about you came out? And I think I'd care for about 10 minutes. And then I would say, well, I'm glad that's all out. Don't have to worry about that anymore. That would be the end of it. Do you think Snowden should be pardoned? I don't know enough about the Snowden situation, but I'll tell you that I suspect that he did what he did for the right reasons. But there's a lot to that case. Oh, we're not calling her KB. We've decided that will not be her nickname. Everyone fantasizes about their own cross-examination. That's probably true. Am I a bishop? I'm not sure what that means. Not a religious one. The Kratom ban? I've got my eye on that story, but I haven't dug into it yet. I don't know anybody who's taken Kratom, so I don't know much about it. That you said what? When are you marrying her? Chris. Chris sounds like a guy's name, though. You should take the idea of a cult more seriously. How many of you would join my cult? Let's say I organize, create a cult. How many of you are in? I don't know what the rules would be in my cult. I think it would be a very permissive cult, sort of a, dress casual every day sort of thing, You don't have to shave your head. If you want to, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool too. All right, you're in. See, I think the thing all the cult leaders get wrong is they make it hard to be in the cult. What the hell kind of cult, do you want to go into that's hard to be into? A cult should be fun. I want the fun cult. The cult where people are just useful and they do good things and, maybe they try to figure out a better way to run the world or something. Like more of a positive cult. Why do cults get a bad name? Couldn't you have a good cult that just doesn't have any negative intentions whatsoever? The Christina cult? The 420 cult? I think that cult already exists. Yeah, I don't think the Trump cult sounds like a positive thing. Cult Bert. All right, I think we're in. Let's, we probably shouldn't use cult to describe ourselves. Or should we? Should we be a cult? I have no idea why 900 people are listening to this. This might be my worst Periscope of all. The Coulter cult. Sausage Fest. Yeah. It mostly is. I know what you're thinking. Who wants to join a cult that's 98% men? Well, 2% of women do, I guess. It's deplorable. I think Trump owns the deplorable cult. All right, I think I've done enough. I need to go draw comics or some damn thing today. I got to do something useful, so I'm going to sign off. But thanks for indulging me today. Read my blog. Follow me on Twitter. Read my book. Come up with a better nickname for Christina, because I haven't come up with one yet. Christina, get to work. I'll talk to you guys later.